We also don't know the extent to which drug therapy of any sort, transgender related or non-transgender related, also might have come into play here, John, because there are a lot of doctors will just, throw out prescription medication at young people. We found that with some of the other killers. And then we find there could be psychotic effects of that as well. But again, we don't know this yet.
This is the most predictable right-wing response to the school shooting in Nashville, Tennessee. This was so predictable because rather than talking about the issue of endless gun violence in this country, which of course, what's the through line there? The guns. Right-wingers have latched onto the fact that the shooter in this case was transgender. And even though there has been absolutely no reporting or absolutely any evidence indicating that the shooter was on hormone drugs or had a mental illness, they're just running with that narrative with no evidence, because who cares? As long as they get to deflect from what the real issue is here, gun violence.
Okay, can I just say about Laura Ingraham? First of all, she's made up of 200 things on air. So if she says we have no evidence of this yet, boy, are they she's embarrassed about how much they're making it up. So of course you have no evidence of it because you just pulled it out of your ass. None of that is true. You just want to blame trans people, so you just said it.
Now, Marjorie Greene is following along with this tactic here, tweeting, how much hormones like testosterone and medications for mental illness was the transgender Nashville school shooter taking? Everyone can stop blaming guns now.
Idiot, total idiot, has maybe 2 brain cells in her head. So there was no mass shootings before trans people, before they started taking this. Because I remember covering a couple of mass shootings. You don't remember any, Marjorie Taylor Greene? So now we can stop talking about the guns. Now is the common through line for all the mass shootings transgender people? Not remotely. So this is like, the reason that it's being talked about is because, oh wow, this is such a unique, different case of a trans shooter, right? Most of the shooters have been perfectly straight, right? That is definitely not the uniting factor. There is a uniting factor to all, literally all, 100% of the mass shootings. Weapons, guns. But no, all of a sudden, not the guns, not the guns, not the guns, trans people. Yeah, I know, you sick right-wingers with your constant hatred and fear. Go ahead.
By the way, the shooter started identifying as male just a few months ago. I mean, I'm sure that their gender identity, they knew what their gender identity was much earlier than that, right? But just recently, it appears, came out publicly by posting on social media that they want to be referred to as he. So anyway, so like the idea that there was hormone therapy involved or gender affirming care involved is just it's ridiculous. And to blame it on that is even more ridiculous because there's no evidence indicating that that kind of care, that gender affirming care, leads to violence. But anyway, JD Vance, same story. We're still learning about the horrific shooting in Nashville, but if early reports are accurate that a trans shooter targeted a Christian school, there needs to be a lot of soul searching on the extreme left. Giving into these ideas isn't compassion, it's dangerous.
How about all the straight white males? How about all of them? Giving into them is very dangerous, like that lunatic JD Vance. 98% of the shootings are straight males. That's not a problem. We have one shooting from a transgender person. Oh my God, we gotta look into hating this group more. Hate. That's who JD Vance is. Look, I'm trying to be understanding. The problem with the right wing is they're so good at sucking us into culture wars. There's I know the game, we talk about the game all the time. They want to distract us from economic issues so they can keep you poor and have no health care and enslaved to corporations, including gun manufacturers. But how are we supposed to not respond when they say insane, idiotic things like, it must be trans people that's doing all the mass shootings? I mean, how could you be that stupid?
No, you do respond to it because it's a lie and it's super easy to debunk it. Okay, look, just give me a minute. Let me just go through some of the other idiots here and then I'll give you the stats because we keep referencing them. I want to give you the exact stats in regard to these mass shootings. So then you have Charlie Kirk, instead of banning assault rifles, we should ban gender affirming care for kids. Okay, but we're talking about a 28-year-old in this case, 28-year-old who carried out this shooting. Anyway, Donald Trump Jr., probably one of the worst tweets on this. Given the incredible rise of trans/non-binary mass shooters, what? In the last few years, by far the largest group committing as a percentage of population. Maybe rather than talking about guns, we should be talking about lunatics pushing their gender-affirming, I don't know, on their kids. Okay.
You literally push assault weapons on your kids. You put them in the tiny little hands in front of a Christmas tree. That's what you lunatics do on the right. And then you go, I don't know how they got the mass shooting. I don't know how they got the idea of an assault weapon. It must be the trans people. Yeah, I missed the 2,000 mass shootings done by straight males just like Don Jr. We have to have Don Jr., people that look like Don Jr. Checked out for being potentially psychotic, okay? We should probably imprison them all. I'm just using right-wing logic. Hey man, oh no, you can just do it to other people when it makes no goddamn sense at all. But when it comes to your precious, precious own identity. Now, even though we do the overwhelming majority of the mass shootings, we're totally innocent and free. Get out of here.
So let's get to the numbers. So this is reporting from 2021. The numbers are obviously, like the number of shootings has gone up considerably. But according to the nonprofit research center, the Violence Project, men are responsible for 98% of mass shootings.
Why aren't we ever talking about the scourge of males in this country?
Well, because we actually want to talk about the root of the problem, which is the easy access to any weapon, any assault weapon you could possibly want. Because that's the real issue here. Because it's not about identity. Mental health issues might play a role, but blaming it on a particular identity is ridiculous and doesn't make any sense, especially when you're trying to put the blame on transgender people when, as Cenk has said repeatedly, and the details bear it out, the data bears it out, the majority of mass shootings are not done by transgender people.
I want to be clear. Look, if you're talking about any part of an identity, it has no effect. If you were going to look at any identity at all, it would be males, because they're doing 98% of the shooting, okay? But even that doesn't make sense, because 99.99999% of males don't do this, right? But we use logic and we're fair. But that's a mistake, because the other side are monsters and they're the most unfair people in the world. You just need one shooter and they're like, it's all trans people. How am I supposed to deal with that? How am I supposed to have a logical debate with these monsters? All right, go ahead, Anna, go back to the numbers.
Men were behind 94% of 240 mass shootings, 4 or more killed regardless of location, from 2009 to 2020, in which the shooter's gender could be confirmed. And then what about the transgender mass shootings? I mean, if you would believe what Don Jr. is saying there, they're committing the majority of mass shootings now, right? Except they're not. Experts put the American transgender population somewhere around 1.6% or as high as 5% for young adults. When it comes to mass shootings since 2018, trans people make up only 0.08% of shooters.
And that's from 2022. Okay, I mean, look, I know. It's easy to trick people. And I know the good people that don't know anything are gonna hear these right-wingers and they're gonna say, well, I don't know, maybe it's trans people that are doing it. I can't believe they're gonna think that. I can't believe that they can't see 98% of the shootings, but they're going to, and they're gonna fall for it.
Let's put up the graph, because I think this graph is pretty interesting. Number of mass shootings in the United States between 1982 and March of 2023, meaning this month, by shooters' race or ethnicity. As you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, the vast majority of them are committed by white shooters. But again, like, I hate getting sucked into this weird identity angle in regard to mass shootings in America. The problem is the guns. Easy access to the guns, but nothing's gonna be done about that. So we'll still keep having these weird peripheral debates without addressing the root causes here.
I don't think race has anything to do with it, other than the specific shooters who said, I am doing this because I'm a white supremacist and I want to kill Latinos or black people, etc. Those numbers look relatively proportional. So we're not the ones saying, it's race, it's gender, it's this, it's that. we're saying the common through line is the most obvious thing in the world. We're the only country that allows this amount of weapons with almost no gun control at all. We're the only country with nonstop massacres. If you don't know that, it's because you're listening to the wrong media. These are absolute stone cold facts. Other countries have just as many criminals. They have just as many psychos as a percentage of the population who want to do violence, but they don't have access to the overwhelming weaponry that's available in America with almost no checks at all. But now we have to do some weirdo defense here because right wing says it, media repeats it over and over and over and over, and it gets into good people's heads, let alone bad people's heads. And they go, I don't know, maybe it was trans people. God, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? How can you not see straight? But when it comes to identity, people lose their minds. When they see, oh, I see the Muslim, it's the Muslim's fault. I see transgender, it's transgender's fault. Hey, how about the 98% that are straight males? I don't see it. I don't see it. Why? Because it's about me. I don't want to see it. So I'm going to blame you guys instead. Right wing 101.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.